So وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَى مُوسَى إِذَا اسْتَسْقَاهُ قَوْمُهُ أَنْ اضْرِبْ بِعَصَاكَ الْحَجَرَ. So we revealed to Moses, when his people sought drinking water from him in the desert, strike the stone with your staff. So he's told to strike the stone with his staff. And then it says, فَانْبَجَسَتْ مِنْهُ 12 عَيْنًا قد علم كل أناس مشربهم وظللنا عليهم الغمام وأنزلنا عليهم المن والسلوى كلوا من طيبات ما رزقناكم وما ظلمونا ولكن كانوا أنفسهم يظلمون. So here the ayah ends with saying they were ungrateful. We gave them all these blessings. We gave them the manna and the quail, and despite that, they oppressed themselves. So if you look in Surah Al-Baqarah, it says, وَإِذَا اسْتَسْقَى مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ. Recall how Moses sought drinking water in the desert for his people. So now Moses is seeking it for his people, right? There the people asked Moses, right? So it's letting you know that he's answering the request of his, and this is what prophets do, they serve their people, right? So فَقُلْنَا اضْرِبْ بِعَصَاكَ الْحَجَرَ. Okay, so far it's the same. فَانْفَجَرَتْ مِنْهُ. But here it says فَانْفَجَرَتْ. فانفجرت منه 12 عينا قد علم كل أناس مشربهم. There's the same. But now Allah says كلوا واشربوا من رزق الله ولا تعثوا في الأرض مفسدين. So they haven't gone astray yet. He's telling them don't sow corruption. But in the other one he says that they ما ظلمناهم ولكن كانوا أنفسهم يظلمون. They were the oppressors. So anfajarat means that it burst forth and flowed freely and strongly. Imbajasat means that it flowed but then it diminished with their sins. So the imbijas is that the flow actually diminished the more they sinned. And so these are the type of nuances that you're going to find in the repetition. So to look at another one, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he says to Moses, and Moses is the most repeated story in the Quran with Pharaoh because that is the world. It's Moses and Pharaoh, right? It's, I have a Palestinian sister here. So, this is the story of the world. It's Moses. And also to remember, amongst the Pharaoh's people, there's people that believe. So even in the Pharaoh's inner circle, there was a mu'min min ali Fir'aun. He was amongst the people of Pharaoh. So the Quran is nuanced in that way. And then there's bad people amongst the people of Moses. So it's never Manichaean. The Quranic worldview is never Manichaean. It's never black and white. It's always recognizing the nuances of the world. But this is the confrontation between Pharaoh and Moses. This is always, and you choose your sides, and you can't fence it, because if you fence it, you're on the Pharaoh's side by being neutral in a moral crisis. They say the hottest place in hell is reserved for those who are neutral in a moral crisis. I don't know if that's true, but it's a nice reminder. So he says here that and so Moses, said, وَقَالَ مُوسَى يَا فِرْعَوْنُ إِنِّي رَسُولٌ مِّن رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. So I am a messenger from the Lord of the worlds. حَقِيقٌ عَلَى أَلَّا أَقُولَ عَلَى اللَّهِ إِلَّا الْحَقِّ. And I'm obliged to say nothing about God but the truth, right? So he's telling him, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you the truth. And then he says, that I have come with قَدْ جِئْتُكُمْ بِبَيِّنَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. I've come with a clear proof from your Lord. فَأَرْسِلْ مَعِ بَنِي إِسْرَائِيلَ. So set free the children of Israel. And this is also in the Bible mentioned. So what's his sign? قال إن كنت جئت بآية فأتي بها. So he says, if you have a sign, let's see it. إن كنت من الصادقين, if you're truthful. فألقى عصاه فإذا هي ثعبان مبين. So he threw down the staff, and it was a manifest thu'ban. Thu'ban is a giant snake, like an anaconda or a python. It's a huge snake. And so that's what he says there. And then وَنَزَعْ يَدْهُ, and then he takes out فَإِذَا هِيَ بَيْضَاءُ لِلنَّاظِرِينَ. And so that's there. And then in Taha, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has the meeting with Musa alayhi salam and asks him, what's in your right hand? Allah knows what's in his right hand. But he asks him, ما تلك بيمينك يا موسى؟ قال هي عصاي أتوكأ عليها وأهش بها على غنمي ولي فيها مآرب أخرى. قال ألقيها يا موسى فألقاها فإذا هي حية تسعى. So here it's a little snake. Now there's two reasons for that. One, if it was a thu'ban, it might have created a real fear in Musa himself, because this is the first time he's seeing the miracle. So it's a little snake that's moving, tasa, quickly. So this is going to be less frightening if it suddenly was a giant snake. It would be terrifying for him. And then what does Allah say? قال خذها ولا تخاف. Take it and have no fear. Right? So he's letting him know. سنعيدها سيرتها الأولى. We'll return it to its original. So he takes it as a staff again. Right? So that is an example. Now finally, this is the third time. So there's 3 times that this is mentioned in the Quran. The first time is in terms of the books, is confronting Moses. But before that, the first time in terms of time dimension, because remember, there's no past, present, or future for God. It's all one for God. And so the Quran is past, present, and future. It's non-linear. So there's things that he'll tell you before that are after in terms of our experience. But with God, they're all in immediate knowledge with God. It's just the eternal now. And so there's no... So he says in this third one, so let's see what you have. And he throws it down, right? And so they tell him that he's a sahir, right? And so when they bring the Sahara, they say, who's going to throw first? And he says, قال لهم موسى ألقوا ما أنتم ملقون. You throw down what you're going to throw down. فألقوا حبالهم وعصيهم. So they threw down their ropes and staffs, right? And وقالوا بعزة فرعون. And they say, by Pharaoh's greatness, by his power, by the invincible might of Pharaoh. And إِنَّا لَنَحْنُ الْغَالِبُونَ. Because they want money, they were promised they're going to get a reward. This is classic, just human, just the pathetic human nature in all its display here. فَأَلْقَى مُوسَى عَصَاهُ فَإِذَا هِيَ تَلْقَفُ مَا يَفِكُونَ. So here, it's not mentioned what. And the ulama say it was a hayya in its speed and a thu'ban in its size. So it has both qualities of this. So that's an example, again, of these different, of different stories, but each one is nuanced. Now, if you look again here with Ibrahim alayhi salam, it says, هل أتاك حديث ضيف إبراهيم المكرمين. Okay, so now it tells you, has it come to you the story of Abraham, the honored guests of Abraham? right? Al-Mukarramin. So then it says, إِدَّخَلُوا عَلَيْهِ فَقَالُوا سَلَامًا. They come in and they say peace. قَالَ salam. And then he says, قَوْمٌ مُنْكَرُونَ. You know, they were people he didn't recognize, right? Munkarun here means unknown, because munkar is something that you don't know. Ma'ruf is what you know, munkar is what you don't know. So in healthy societies, the ma'ruf is virtue and munkar is vice, because you don't see vice in a healthy society. And that's why the Prophet said towards the end of time, ma'ruf would become munkar and munkar would become ma'ruf. So what people know is vice, not virtue. That's one of the signs of the end of time. So there he says, قَوْمٌ مُنْكَرُونَ فَرَاغَ إِلَىٰ أَهْلِهِ فَجَاءَ بِعِجْلٍ سَمِينٍ فَقَرَّبَهُ إِلَيْهِمْ قَالَ أَلَا تَأْكُلُونَ فَأَوْجَسَ مِنْهُمْ خِيفَةً قَالُوا لَا تَخَافْ وَبَشِّرُوهُ. يعني, so he offers them food, and now to the people of the desert, if you offer food and the guest refuses it, they intend evil. That's why he said, أوجس في نفسه خيفة. He feels some fear, because if they ate, people, you know, in that tradition, if you ate from a man's plate, you're gonna do him harm, because it would be, again, that breach of hospitality. These are ancient traditions, and so there, this is what he said. Now, if you go back to Surah Al-Hijr, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَنَبِّئْهُمْ عَنْ ضَيْفِ إِبْرَاهِيمَ. And he doesn't say Al-Mukramin. So here, the focus is not on the karam of Ibrahim. It's the purpose is another purpose. إِدَّخْلُوا عَلَيْهِ فَقَالُوا سَلَامًا. Now, in the other one, he replies the salam, but that's not the point here. قَالَ إِنَّا مِنْكُمْ وَجِلُونَ. The point here is fear. So he removes the return of the salam, and he removes the fact that he honored them in his house by bringing them things, because now the focus is on the fear in Ibrahim. And this is, I mean, we all know this. When you tell a story, we will tell stories in different ways based on what we want to get out of the story. So even humans do this. So we'll omit things that are not relevant to what we're trying to say in that story. And this is what, because balagha, rhetoric in our tradition, balagha is mutabaqat al-kalam muqtada al-hal. It's the relationship of the words that you are speaking, that they correspond to the muqtada al-hal. So for instance, you know, in the adhan, when Umar radiallahu anhu, you know, as-salatu khayrun min an-nawm. So some of the Muslim schools don't accept that, because they say, you know, salat is khayrun min lots of things, like the least of which is sleep. But for muqtada al-hal at Fajr, that's the most appropriate thing to remind people that it's better of. Like if you were eating, it would be khayrun min al-akal, you know, or something. But here you're sleeping. So that rhetoric is always looking at what are the most appropriate words in the given situation that you're in. So now we can look at another aspect of the repetition, what appears to be repetition, but like I said. So if you look at the beginning of the Quran, Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ لَا رَيْبَ فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, or لَا رَيْبَ, stop, فِيهِ هُدًى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. So here, Alif Lam Mim, this is the book of Allah. There is no doubt therein. It is a guidance for the God-fearing, the people of taqwa, those who believe in the realms of the unseen, who duly establish the prayer set by God, and who spend charitably out of what we have provided them, and those who further believe in this Quran that is sent down.